of North American Coral Labs. I always use the acronym NaCl. Yeah. It's just so much easier for me, and so I'm always like, it stands
sodium
for...
chloride.
Right.
Salt.
Yeah, I know, right? It was such a great thing. And you kind of did this to honor or to make fun of or to lean into the Breaking Bad thing.
There was inspirational influence.
Because Breaking Bad grew things and you're growing things. But you're growing coral. You cook differently, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
So the reason I wanted to have you on, I wanted to talk to a business owner that especially survived COVID. Yes. Because so many businesses did go out of business.
We were actually expanding during that.
Wait. Actually, we're on this mic. We're wearing mics, but this one is working. I see thumbs up. Let's just double check. See, I should have wore the ear monitor so I could hear. But it looks like we'll just work with this mic. I think we'll be fine.
Just talking to that one.
Yeah.
Right.
It's getting us as far as I know. If there's something terrible, they'll tell me. They're very quick to let me know I'm making mistakes.
I'm sure.
So you grew this business. How long has it been open?
I've been doing this for around a decade now.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So you could say 2013.
Something like that, yeah. I think I did my first shows right around 2015 or so, but I'd been in the industry and stuff, just kind of in the background.
Can you guys hear him okay? Is he loud enough? Make sure he's talking loud enough.
I'm sorry, yeah.
Just tell us. You know, because you're talking to me, so it seems like I should talk low.
Okay,
we have to talk there.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, I sound like
I can throw my voice.
Okay, good. Thank you, Joanne.
All right.
When you went to your first show, you probably went to a local Texas one, right?
Yes, it was in San Antonio, actually. I had a really good friend who I still thank to this day for pushing me into this. His name was Uchin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
You know Uchin? Yeah. And so he talked me into it. He was like, dude, you do so good at this. You'll be so great at this, blah, 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 blah. He talked me up, he got me hyped up. And I was like, all right, I'll go try, So I come from a background in retail, so I have quite a bit of experience doing trade shows.
Okay.
I was in the men's skincare industry before it was popular. Like now we have all these brands like Dr. Squatch at Walmart and all these other things. I was in the leading edge of that before it was popular. There was no options back when I was doing it. So that's kind of where it all started. Trade shows, at least.
And where I'm going with this, just to kind of help you understand my thought process, you went to one show, you did your one thing, and then you went back to your spot where you have your corals. Have you ever done an online shop where people could buy?
No.
It's always been go to a show.
Yes.
Because at one point, you were going to so many shows, I couldn't believe it. In 52 weeks, I don't know, I felt like you went to 59 shows. It was something crazy.
Well, there's actually some weekends we'll do 2 shows. We'll do a show on Saturday, and then we'll do a show immediately following on Sunday.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, they're like 6 hours away from each other.
Yeah, which is kind of good
like
for
in different states.
Yeah, because you're driving there with everything.
Right. And we'll travel, 20 hours straight shot. There's no doing it as a live coral cell trade show vendor. We're driving, sometimes 20 hours straight. There's no stop. You can't rest. You can't sit and put your corals. There's nowhere you have to get them there. Just like an overnight shipping thing.
Yeah.
So it's challenging. There's a lot of challenges in it. The process of taking the corals, that's a learning curve. Getting them across the country is a learning curve.
Yeah.
There's a lot to it.
And I saw a comment from you recently, maybe a day ago on Facebook, saying how I'm always the last one to leave. Is that because your booth is so complicated, it just takes you forever?
That was one of my friends, Josh, poking fun at me.
Do you want them out of your way, and then when they're gone, you can just roll out easily without tripping over cords? What's your reason for being last going out?
Okay, so here's how I look at it. All of my sales happen at trade shows. So I'm not going to get in a hurry at all doing what I do as a profession. I do things as best as I can, and I don't get in a hurry. A lot of these people want to rush in and rush out and get their money and go.
Yeah.
I am there to put on the most best performance and best presentation I possibly can, and that takes time, and you can't rush these things.
Right.
We're dealing with living animals. You have to be careful. You have to show a lot of care. You just can't throw things together.
Right.
Gosh, I didn't know how stressful YouTube could be until I got into this room.
We are still on generator power, y'all. We have not, and it's warm in here. I
Mark's
actually had to get a towel.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm soaking wet.
I was like, I thought we only dealt with stuff like this at the shows.
No, this is rough. This is really
so
rough.
No, it's I take my time. I figure, if it takes me an extra hour to get out of there and pack everything carefully, it increases the likelihood that everything's going to go well. I just don't get in a rush. Haste makes waste. There's an old saying in this hobby: anything that happens fast is bad.
Yeah.
And that goes for anything in the shows too. It has to happen at a rapid speed, but it can't happen fast.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys get in a hurry. They throw things together. I'm doing shows every weekend. So if I throw everything back in the containers just all willy-nilly, then the next show I do the next weekend, I'm having to sort through things, trying to find out I didn't put it back where it went.
Yeah.
So I just take my time.
Do you have some stories you can tell us of things that have happened?
Oh gosh.
Maybe good stories versus all the horror stories. We can do some horrors.
We could do both.
We can scare the audience.
Yeah, that's fine. It's like I think a lot of times people have to tell. They tell you about their wins. Like you can relate it to gamblers. I don't gamble, but people that go to the casinos and stuff like that, they always tell you about the times they win.
Right.
But they don't ever tell you about the times they lose.
Which is what I
So
want
it
to
gives
know.
you a false impression, especially like social media. It gives everybody a false impression that everything's just roses.
Yeah.
And it's not always like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of challenges in any business you run. Same thing with the coral business. There's times where I've never had anything personally like critical failure ever happen, but I've had tanks cloud up at a show because of a coral that died. There's certain corals that you can put in a tank, and sometimes they just don't make the transition into a temporary habitat very well. So like lobos are typically those can be one that like clouds your water. Anemones can cloud your water.
Sure, they
Rock
can.
flowers are absolutely horrible at doing that.
Are they?
Oh gosh, yeah. That's
Because
why I
they're
do them in
spawning
little cups.
or they're dying?
Both. They just eject whatever they have inside their body. They have a slime that they slime the slough off a lot. So if you've ever seen me at the shows, I typically do the little saucer cups.
Yes. Yeah,
and
they'll separate them all alone.
And it gives you a better visual representation of the animal, and then you can change the water quickly and keep them happy in their own little individual bags rather than in a big tank.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a problem at Magna last year doing that. The one in Atlanta. Yeah, they wouldn't let me do the cups.
Right.
So I had to go last minute. I had to run to a PetSmart
and
get a tank. The first place didn't have the right tank, so I went to the next place. I spent 3 hours in Atlanta traffic, and then I threw all the rock flowers in there, and then of course they weren't happy with each other, and we started having problems. So that stuff happens all the time, and you have to be prepared for that. You know, and it's like it's part of it.
Right.
It's part of the business.
How did you survive COVID? Because you couldn't meet with other people, you couldn't go to gatherings.
COVID was. I'm blessed to have decent means to take care of myself. So I just kind of checked out. I lived off my savings, and I took care of my parents. I took care of our properties. I did a lot of work outside. I built roads. I trimmed trees. I did stuff that I could do, catch up on it.
I remember you leveling the yard.
Leveling the yard, dragging sand out.
Dragging
Michael
a
Vargas.
pallet or something.
Yeah, Michael Vargas. He's got me taking care of grass now. Like I want to get this whole property to like a golf
You're
course.
You're never gonna get that.
Oh well,
that
hey, don't say never, man. Tell me never, and I'll do it.
How big's the property?
I live on 5 acres.
You're never going to do it.
And then I have
There's
7
no
acres
way.
on the other side of town.
It's absolutely impossible. There's no way to have a golf course
sure.
acres long.
Sure, that's what golf courses are.
Yeah, but they have an army of guys.
So?
It's not just one Michael Vargas.
I'm an army of one.
with a pallet. So literally, he had like
sure,
I don't know,
redneck army of one.
He had a 4-wheeler or
Don't
something.
underestimate rednecks.
And there was this pallet, and I think you threw sand on top, and you just drove, and it filled the holes.
Yeah, so I have a tractor, and you drag the sand out, and you drop that on the ground, and then you just drag the pallet around, and it just levels the ground. It's just a way of doing it that's a little bit more redneck. So.
Okay. Listen, he sent me like 1,000 pictures in Messenger yesterday. I mean, there's not even an easy way to download them, so there's no visuals with this at all. But you made a really pretty studio. Yeah. What was the purpose of that? Was that just to have a pretty place to work, or did you want people to go there?
No, it's just for me.
It was for you.
It really is just for me. And like anything I do it to a level. I believe in quality, and if you're going to do something, you do it right, and you care about things. And if you're a good steward, I'm artistic, so I like putting that extra touch on things.
Yeah. It's really clean.
Yeah, and so it really is. It's a matter of just caring for things, thinking about things, like loving things that you do, and just going that extra step. Let
me see if I can find a picture.
That's all right.
Tell us a story.
Tell you a story. Gosh, I got many of them. I don't know. What do you want me to tell you a story about?
Something about your business, or talk about. You said you had something specific you want to bring up. You want to save that for the end?
Yeah, we can
when
say
you're about to run away.
Yeah, I gotta go now.
I have something really hard. Yeah,
I'm gonna take the mic and drop it and just walk out.
You're not gonna like this.
You are gonna like this. This is bad news. No, I just want people to understand. If you're doing this hobby as a hobby and you love it, do it as a hobby and love it. If you're doing this hobby to make money, you should really rethink what you're thinking.
Yeah.
You really should, because it's hard to understand the economy of scale when it comes to selling a few things as a vendor or a hobbyist, and then growing things out into an aquaculture facility where you can supply the market in any meaningful way.
Right.
So that's kind of a precursor, but yeah.
You got to fill the void. Keep going. I'm looking for your.
I'm looking for
You gave
pictures.
me.
Oh, there we go. There's a picture right there.
You gave me so many pictures.
I know. I'm sorry. I sent him like 130 pictures last night. He asked for pictures, and I was like, "Here, dump the whole photo reel."
I know. It's like he unloaded his phone into my phone into Messenger. That's
yeah,
not how you
Messenger
share?
too. Oh, dude, I'm like a boomer, man. I'm sorry. You know, it's like I can't handle all this technology.
Yeah,
what are you talking about?
I know. I'm just like
I can't even take pictures. That's one of the funny things about. That's probably one of the reasons I won't ever sell online, is because I just can't take pictures. I'm horrible at it.
Okay, I've managed to download.
I'm like a monkey with the camera. There's a GIF where there's like a guy trying to take a picture and a monkey, and he's got the camera and he can't make it work. Michael Vargas comes over and takes all my pictures.
That's very convenient. And you don't have a website to sell corals.
No,
you are literally in
currently.
person only.
I'm in person only. I only do at the shows, and then of course, if you own a fish store, local fish store, or anything like that, I will sell wholesale lots of aquaculture corals.
Okay.
Other than that, yeah, that's it.
Let's. I'm gonna pull up another slide. You keep talking.
Oh,
I'm doing things.
Okay, I'm paying attention to you, man. I'm so interested in all this. This is all new to me. I'm like,
Dude,
wow, there's a lot going on over here. He's got all these menu
you
bars.
You wouldn't believe. Don't look at that.
Don't look at that. I don't
Wait,
even know.
they couldn't see it. They couldn't see it. They couldn't see it. It was
Yeah.
good. I've got one part working correctly where they can't see it, which is perfect.
Wonderful.
I'm learning.
You gotta hide.
So
you gotta hide
hard.
the man behind the curtain. Yeah.
Okay, so now we'll take this. Yeah, you just tell your next story. Tell us a horror story from a trade show.
Horror story
Something
from a
that just
trade
went
show.
so badly.
Man. I can't say that I've ever, due to the fact that I take time and I have preparation, I don't have any really horror stories. There's other vendors that have had them happen. I've had friends that have like literally been loading corals at the end of a show, and like their entire stack of these iglooed containers has dumped off the back of their van, and they lost all of their water. A friend of ours had that happen to him, and then he's scrambling at the end of the show and trying to find vendors that have wastewater to just get things, just keep them wet to make sure that they're going to make it, or get them somewhere fast, because this stuff doesn't do well in air for very long periods of time.
Right.
And so I don't necessarily have anything horrible that's happened at shows. There is a lot of risk just for the animals that you take to shows. It's part of the cost of doing business. It's part of your cost of goods sold.
Right.
Where you go to a show and maybe you take 5 nice torches that are $250 each or $300 each or whatever.
Right.
And you are probably going to lose one of them on the way home.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen. That's just part of this whole dealing with live creatures and selling live creatures.
Right.
Or live animals. You're going to have a loss, and it's hard if you don't understand that going into it. So if you can accept all those risks, then maybe you can.
That's a little bit like for fish stores. They have the same thing. I mean, they bring in inventory, they bring in livestock, and I think that's not everything survives.
Yeah, a lot of people don't understand that all the prices that we charge in our business, it has to take all that into an account.
Right. That's why a fish is expensive, because they order in 5 and they have 2 to sell.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're doing better than that, but it is true. What I mean? It is true.
Things go wrong.
Things go wrong, and you do lose a lot of stock. As an aquaculture facility, we're focused mostly on growing things that we can reproduce at a scale that is economically sustainable.
Yeah.
A lot of the new vendors and people that have popped up, we refer to them as chop shops, and what they do is they'll buy corals that are just straight out of the ocean, and they'll run them through a saw. And then they'll put them on little plugs, and they'll sell them within a few days.
Yeah, so they're very freshly cut.
They're very freshly cut. They haven't been adapted yet to like an aquaculture type system. So you're going to inevitably have a huge loss on the front end of that.
Yeah.
They pass that on to the consumer. An aquaculture vendor like me and a couple of the other professionals that are aquaculturists, we kind of absorb all of that.
Yeah.
All of that front end cost. We don't pass that on to the consumer.
Yeah.
So when you buy something from someone like me or someone like us, you have a much higher success rate with the coral. Like, you've got some corals for me at shows before, and I think they're still in there.
They're still alive. Yeah. It's a miracle.
And it's because because those are the ones that can make the transition, and I've already made sure that happened.
Yeah.
in my facility before I've even passed it on to you.
Yeah, no, Justin's actually recommended, you need this one. You should get that one. You definitely have to have one of these. You know?
Yeah, well, and,
I'm just in his booth like, okay, this.
Well, that's part of the fun, too, is dealing with people in person rather than, like, showing them pictures online.
Yeah.
You know, you see a picture online, right, Mark? And it's inevitably got filters on it. I mean, I think you even make me look better on this camera right now than I do in person.
Then look at the camera.
Oh, look at this camera. but you know, you see things online and you have the tendency to go, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous, that's beautiful. But in reality, when you see it in your tank, it doesn't look exactly like that.
Right, no, it's hard.
So one of the things that I really enjoy about doing it as an aquaculture vendor in a show setting is that what you see in my tank is what you're going to take home.
Right.
And you get to see the health of my coral.
Yeah.
It's living in front of you. I can't trick that. I can't use saturation. I can't use photoshopping. I can't.
You can just make them wear the orange glasses.
I can put the orange glasses on them and say, here, take this on.
Yeah.
Look at it.
Now,
look now. Oh.
Now your credit card is
I can't stand the way things look through those. They
really help me, believe it or not.
It's like blows up, and it's like, oh my god.
It glows like crazy, and I know it's over the top.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it makes me just pull out my wallet. I mean, it actually is.
Well, that's okay. Maybe I should put more glasses at my booth then. I don't know.
Yeah. Or put up a big orange visor they have to look thugh.
Yeah, right. Just put a big orange screen in front of everything. Put a quarter in and it opens up.
Say,
and
it's
you
a
can
sneeze
look through.
guard. Just look at your coral. Just buy some. Buy 7. Buy 40.
Yeah. But no, I that's actually a good point. I think that's one of the reasons I really enjoy selling at shows rather than selling online is because there's no tricks.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you hear all the time people are like complaining and you see all the negative social media stuff and people get corals and they're not what they thought they were, and it's, you know, I don't have any tricks.
That's
it's just,
true.
I have healthy quality coral and it's right here in front of you.
Yeah, I'm just going to spell what you just said because I feel like it wasn't quite drawn out.
Oh, there you go.
I buy something online, I base it on the photograph I see. And I've been on websites where they show the mother colony. You don't even know what the frag is you're getting.
Right.
It'll say, this is the mother. And I'm like, oh, that's only $45. I'll take that. And then it's like,
and
wait,
you get one polyp.
that's a 3/4, no, that's a 1/2-inch frag of that.
Yeah.
Oh, what does that thing look like? You know, and so I'm like, You're saying you walk up, you see what you're getting, you've literally picked it out, you bag it in front of them.
Right.
I mean, you're like a farmer's market.
Yeah, exactly. You know? It's more like farmer's market. Exactly.
You're literally going and getting the fruits
it's
and
the
vegetables
salt of the
you
earth.
want.
Yeah, it's exactly. You know, it's here. I'm in front of you, belly to belly, and I feel like I can have more meaningful contact with the customers in person rather than texting. You lose a lot of human contact when you're texting back and forth instant messages, and you have that in person. And so like a new hobbyist can come to my booth and I can engage with them in a way that you just cannot do online. You just can't do it.
I know you have to do a YouTube channel where you can connect every week.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's great. But yeah, you have that ability to like actually discuss with the customer. You get to talk to them about how long they've had the tank. You get to talk to them about what they're looking to accomplish, and then you can make really nice suggestions to them because maybe they're new and maybe instead of just clicking on pictures that they like the looks of, you can say, hey man, that coral right there, since you've just had a tank for 3 months, it might not be the best fit for you, and I don't want you to waste your money. So let me suggest some things that look similar to it.
That's awesome.
That that are going to grow and you're going to be successful with. Because in reality, you just want to make your customers more successful so they can be happy with what they come back. All the time. People tell me it's one of the funniest things that happens all the time at shows, but people come up to me and they're like, oh, we had a tank crash and we lost everything, but your corals are the ones that survived.
Oh, nice.
And it's I don't know if they're just telling me that, but it really is nice to hear that because it kind of reinforces what I'm doing as trying to do this as an aquaculture hobby. To make it sustainable, to stop just ripping mariculture stuff out of the ocean and chopping it up and selling it to people, goosing photos. I call it goosing photos.
Is that a big problem? Is there a lot of it?
I feel like yes. If you saw the buckets of dead coral I have, because I have a problem trying to get the next aquaculture piece. So I do go to the wholesalers and I do buy corals and I put them in my systems and I try to get them to transition from mariculture or wild into a piece that is aquaculture captive. And it takes several generations. The way to truly aquaculture things is you bring in a wild piece, you cut it. Once the frag has grown enough to then frag that piece, that is your first generation. That's F1. But it has to be the first generation of the new growth that has never seen the ocean. So it's always been an artificial water. And then that's your first generation of aquaculture, and then you frag from there. And so like you've actually got it to grow in captivity.
Yeah.
So there's a process, and it takes a lot of time to understand how to get it to transition.
Yeah.
You can bring it in. It's the receiving tanks run at a lower alkalinity. They run at different, they run at different parameters, and then you gradually increase those as you bring them over into your grow systems.
Right.
After they've made that switch, but a lot of stuff dies. It really is, and it's sad.
That's hard.
It is hard, especially when you care about the animals. Oh my gosh! Speaking of which, I saw something the other day. Some of the people in this hobby, I just don't think they have a respect for the animals that we keep. Just the other day, one of the vendors sold a bunch of corals to a guy. And he literally, because of disagreement of, there was a mixed shipping label, he got all mad, and he took the corals and he threw them out on the street, and he recorded this.
Oh.
And he just threw these animals out in the street like he didn't care about them at all. No. And it was so disturbing. I don't know. I think it is
disturbing.
People need to look at this for what it is. We're very lucky. I mean, what have we been doing this for a couple decades now?
Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's, the entire saltwater industry, the 70s.
Right,
I mean, when it started happening.
Yeah.
So in the scope of human experience, we're very lucky.
Yeah, yeah.
We are really lucky to have this in our lives.
And I've heard so many times from other divers, oh, you should have seen what the reefs looked like in the 70s and 80s, and
Julian
I never
will
dove
tell you
then.
about that.
I
He's like, oh my God, it's beautiful. It was so different.
Yeah, and it's, a lot of it's been lost, and now it's getting smaller. So
and we're keeping it alive in these captive systems, but we should be very appreciative for what went into getting them to went into getting them to us.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have this. As a society, one of the things that we struggle with is we have this disposable mentality. It's like, oh, I don't like this cup. Yeah. I'll, throw it away, get another one.
Yeah, I hate doing that. Until it's broken, I don't want to get rid of it.
Sometimes I'll fix it. I'll glue it back together.
I had a compressor that it would overheat. After 5 minutes, it would turn off, and it would turn on and compress air and then turn off. And I went to Home Depot and said, look, can you just send this in for repair? I have no idea what the receipt is. Just repair it. Just fix it. And they said, well, why don't you just buy a new one? Right. I was like, because it's 99% perfect. It looks brand new. It's been in perfect condition.
And that's the mentality.
And they said, well, it's going to be $680 to fix this. And I said, how much is the new one? He says, $200. And I'm like, so I'm supposed to fill the landfill? Because there's a faulty wire on that motor. Something a mechanic could solve probably. And have a beautiful 200-gallon Yeah. And I was just like, man. And I hated putting it to the curb because it's a landfill item now that I should continue to use. And I could not believe it was going to be $600
to taken to a scrapyard
fix
because
it.
they use the metal in the components.
Well, there you go. I mean, I think I might have put it out there and someone grabbed it anyway.
Oh yeah,
and they probably scrapped it.
Well, and there's plenty of people that need, they're less fortunate. They look for stuff like that.
And maybe they can
one
fix
man's
it.
trash is truly another man's treasure. You know, I mean, a lot of people can do things like that with stuff that we throw away. They take and they repurpose it and they make it something great.
My house is so cluttered because I don't get rid of those things. Because maybe they can be fixed. Maybe it'll come in handy. Maybe they're a backup.
I have a lot of corals that are like that. I'm like, these one day will be popular again. These green star polyps. Yeah, sure.
Never give up on those zinnia.
Yeah, the zinnia. No, that's one thing I won't keep. That is one thing that it is
Let's
so
start with
invasive.
the ones you won't keep.
So I won't keep Texas trash pallies. I won't keep because I just don't like the name.
Yeah. Plus they grow like
I'm
crazy.
from Texas, so I don't like anything Texas trash.
That's hilarious.
No, I won't keep pulsing zinnia or anything that's invasive, just because of the value of real estate. If you can grow, let's say 500 frags in a 4x2 foot area, each one of those spaces it occupies is worth a certain amount of money. So you have to kind of understand, you have to kind of be little.
Every spot matters.
Every little spot matters. So if you're making $5 per inch instead of $50 per inch, there's you have to kind of understand that you need to be a little critical of what you keep in your systems. Hey, look, Miller's Reef.
Yeah, I saw it. It's subliminal.
I always say it wrong. You always say my name wrong. I always say your name wrong. It's okay.
It's Miller's Reef.
It's all right.
Yeah. Okay, tell us about your fantastic booths at the shows.
So that's one of my favorite things is to put on a really cool presentation. And I think it's funny because like when I started doing this, like I've done some things, and a lot of the other vendors and stuff have copied what I do and stuff. Like when I first came in, we have a television company. We sell TVs into hospitals, and so I had a television screen and I put it on my rack, and I had Michael Vargas's pictures, and so we had like the first like interactive TV screen on top of a system. People could see the colonies, and then they could see the pieces down in the tanks that they could buy, and that was really cool. Oh, this one's cool. Yeah,
I know, I'm trying to get it uploaded right now.
This one was really fun. This was actually, we won best saltwater booth this year at Aquaculture. This was 21, I believe. Aquaculture 21.
Give me 1 second,
Dallas?
guys. I'll get on the screen for you.
Sorry, guys. I'm just talking about it.
Yeah, you're fine. You do the intro for it.
Yeah, so this was my friend Jake Angel, who I'm actually helping move right now. We kind of always we're kind of like Mutt and Jeff, where we do shows together all the time. And so he had a fish store called Mile High Tides, and of course I'm North American Coral Labs. There's Walter in the background and Vincent. And so we came up with this idea. It was Aquashelloween we did here in Dallas. You came to that one, right?
Yeah, I did, of course.
Okay. And we decided, I told Jake, we were talking, I was like, dude, let's do a pirate ship.
Yeah.
And I was talking originally I was going to build this thing out of wood. I have delusions of grandeur sometimes, Mark.
Can you imagine trying to get it through the doors of the building?
Yeah, well, I was going to do it on a pallet or a trailer and roll it in and then block the trailer
block the
wheels.
Yep.
But this worked out better. So we created like a mast, and then there's, you can't tell in the picture, but there's a little skeleton up there in the lookout. Yeah, there was a crow's nest up there, like a bucket that he was in.
And you wore eye patches?
We wore eye patch. Actually, I just wore the sunglasses. Okay. Vincent wore an eye patch.
Do you wear the sunglasses all the time because the lights are killing you?
I don't know. I don't know. My eyes are always sensitive. I had laser eye surgery in 2000, and so I've always had just an acute sensitivity to light. Yeah. And so I wear sunglasses all the time. If I go outside and I don't have sunglasses on, I literally am like this.
Right. Yeah.
I can't see. So I always have to wear sunglasses.
I don't think there's time for more pictures.
That's all right.
Okay. Yeah, the themed booths are really cool.
Yeah, I have a lot of fun.
You've done a few different.
I've had a lot of fun.
You'll put art all up in the booth, the wooden cutouts of.
So my friend Bill makes those. He's up in Wisconsin. He has a company called Eye Candy Corals.
Yeah.
And we started a little show circuit together. He runs it now. I'm not involved. But it's called Reefing USA, and so we do little show circuits where we go across the country, and it's really cool. But yeah, he produces those and those little art cutouts and stuff like that. He bought the laser, and it's really neat.
And they're all painted in layers and stacked. I bought some of that art and showed you guys in the past. I have a shark and I have a clownfish.
His name's Bill Davis, and he does that. It's Eye Candy Corals, and I think the name of that the art company is Super Barn Brothers. Is what he calls it.
Okay.
So if y'all are looking for that, it's Super Barn Brothers.
And they make giant things like a jellyfish with all the tendrils coming out.
Yeah, those are so cool.
It's 3 feet
They're
across.
And I went once and helped him build those in his garage, and I was just like,
this is a process. There's a lot to it.
I'm gonna be okay just buying from these from you, and I'll just resell these.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
I saw the layers, like ooh.
Yeah, it is, and he individually primes each one of those pieces, and then and it's pressed together.
And it glows with the right lighting.
Oh yeah, it's really great. The paint cost him a lot of money.
I'm sure
just the cans of paint that he uses to paint them. The expenses are crazy. It's like the expenses in this coral business period. Anything in it is expensive.
No, it's true.
So and then if you scale that, if you think you have like as a hobbyist, this is one of the things economy of scale that you have to consider when you talk about starting a coral business.
Right.
If you have a 100-gallon tank, which is most people's entry level, that's a good entry level tank, right? 120.
You'd think.
You would think. I guess they're smaller than that now.
There's a lot of small tanks on this channel.
I guess there are.
Because I always talk about your tank is small, and then they're like, yeah, my 6-gallon. I'm like, oh, it's really
my
small.
friend Harley with P&W Customs, he makes these little tiny tanks that are like this big, and they're awesome.
Yeah.
And but no, I mean,
he's talking later on the show.
Yeah. Good. I love Harley. He's a really good kid. Yeah. Or man, I guess he's young. But you have the cost goes into maintaining like a 120-gallon 4-foot tank.
Yep.
If you consider that, and then if you're going to aquaculture facility or you're going to do this as a business, you're going to probably multiply that number by 20.
Right.
Like when I replaced the lights in my farm, you buy 5 Radion XR30s for each system. Yeah. And there's 4 systems. Yeah. So that's, quite a bit of light. And it's it gets expensive.
Yeah,
fast.
It adds up. Yeah.
It adds up quick.
Yeah.
And so that's, all those costs go into what we have to charge for corals at the shows. Right. And we try to keep it as competitive and as affordable as possible. Yeah. But it does present a lot of challenges. It was a lot, if you do it as a hobby and you enjoy it and you love it, I would just say just keep doing it as a hobby and love it and enjoy it. Yeah. It really is. The business side of it can be not what people think it is. I think that there's a lot of businesses out there too that have used hype
Yeah.
like to say, oh, this is some great business. You can make all this money doing this. You really have to love coral.
You got to
do it
commit
as a
to.
business. You do,
Yeah.
and you do, and you have to spend way more than most people are even
Anticipating
and
right.
understanding. Yeah, yeah.
So is your goal to sell in every United States?
I think almost I have. There's a couple of them that just there's
You haven't done Alaska and Hawaii yet?
No, I haven't done Alaska and Hawaii. Oh my God, the poor people in Hawaii right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yep.
you know, that is just a travesty what's
Yeah.
happened out there. And it's just you know, we had something like that happen in Texas here not too long ago. It was freeze instead of a fire,
Yep.
but it was
Wiped out things
devastating.
everywhere.
Yeah, it's natural disasters are insane.
Yeah. I'm living in one right now, actually.
It is kind of hot in here, guys. It's kind of warm.
I don't have a thermometer in here, but outside it is 84.
It's not that bad. This
But
is Texas.
this room, 3 monitors, 3
bunch
lights.
of lights. Yeah, these
There's
LEDs.
one fan blowing in the warm house air just to move some air in here.
Yeah.
Man, I keep thinking the electricity will just bloop,
Yeah.
and the AC. Bloop, like,
It's gonna happen right after the interview's
Man,
over.
I hope it comes on.
I got my truck. I told him I was like, I can run a cord from the back of my truck into the house, and we can just go ahead and fire
We'll just
up
run a
something.
duct
Yeah.
from your window
Yeah,
and pump it into my.
yeah. The AC is really good in this truck that I got. So yeah.
No. So you've tried it. I mean, you've been to most states because you drive everywhere.
Yeah.
You never fly there.
No, I do fly.
Oh, you
I do
do?
fly. Yeah. So I'll drive if it's about within 20 hours.
Okay.
If it's outside of that
Yeah.
realm, it is
Yeah.
just too much to do in one shot.
Yeah.
In 20 hours, I even have to stop sometimes. Like I'll drive like 12 hours and then I'll stop and sleep for 2 to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's dangerous, honestly, I think. It like they won't even allow truckers to drive as much as I drive.
Right. Yeah.
We have a friend named Trucker Tammy, and she's a truck driver, and she can't even do the long shots that I do because
Yeah.
it's like, you know, it's
against the law.
liability. It's against
Yeah.
the law. I don't know if I'm incriminating myself here.
It's your business, man. You're not answering to OSHA or whoever it is. That
Whatever,
measures
yeah.
that.
That's
Yeah.
one of the good things about it being independent.
As long as you're not doing this in the lane.
Yeah, no,
it's
and,
okay.
well, no, that's when you just pull over. You don't do anything dumb. When I
Right.
feel like that, and when I feel like I can't handle it anymore, I pull over into a rest stop, and I'll just pass out until I wake up. And it usually takes 2 or 3 hours before I'm back up, and then I'm
I've
like,
done it.
okay, hit it again. You know,
I've
go.
driven to Arizona several times. For
Yeah,
family.
I flew to
17
Arizona
hours.
last time I did Phoenix.
Yeah.
I did a small show out there.
Yeah.
There's a difference in how you set up for a show when you fly versus when you drive.
Right.
I have a completely designed kit specifically
Yeah.
for flying.
Right. In a Pelican case.
And I have Pelican cases, and the tanks nest inside each other.
What about the
And
livestock?
the livestock, usually, I have this little Harley, P&W Customs, maybe this really cool transport system that I take to shows.
Can you carry that on or something?
I carry that on. Those are usually fun experiences with
I
the
bet they are.
TSA.
Yeah.
I really, you know, it's like I've gotten a hard time in Orlando, and I got a really hard time coming back from Magna in Wisconsin last time. I was at the Milwaukee airport, and they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
And so other than that, I've pretty much gotten through most. They understand. You show them their website. You show, hey, it's live coral is okay for carry on, blah blah blah. You can check bags. So basically, like how it comes to us from out of country in an Indonesia box, like, you know, a cardboard box
Right.
with a foam container, you basically just pack things up like that and ship them to yourself.
Right.
But you're just using it as a bag. You're taking it with you.
Why did it do that? Oh wait, it didn't do it.
There's
It didn't.
Tyson. He says best way to start out become a millionaire in the business is to start out as
Right.
a billionaire. Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Let's see. So this
It was
is what
not
they
26 hours when we drove to Chicago.
say.
You just rode the whole time. Who else is in there? Trucker Tammy. I can drive as much as I want now. Yep. Oh,
Well,
there,
yeah,
she's
now she
retired.
can. You
Oh,
know, if she
yeah.
wants.
Tammy's famous.
All right, you got anything else you want to wrap up with? Because we're at the end.
No, guys. You know, just enjoy the hobby. Just it's a wonderful thing, and just every time you look at your tank, fall in love and just enjoy it and support local fish stores. I believe that's the best way, for people to get into the hobby. We really need to make sure that those guys stick around. You know, they're having trouble right now after COVID. It's been a tough economy for everybody.
Yeah, that's true.
So support the local fish stores. You know, go to a fish show, go to a local coral show. And just have fun. Happy reefing, right?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's how it should be.
So,
Let's see. I'm just getting something ready.
That's
hopefully,
all right.
hopefully I'll do it right. Last time I didn't. Okay, so that is kind of ready, and I don't like that this is... Oh, go away.
there's Harley. Look forward to seeing you too, buddy.
Yeah. All right. It's ready. I just don't know how to get to it. Let me click on this for now. And,
You got to make it in one day if you're doing it for coral. You can't do the 3-day drives. You got to haul butt.
All right.
Eastbound and down. Loaded up in trucking.
Guys, we are 4 minutes from our next speaker, so I'm going to go ahead and
Kick me out.
I'm going to run a commercial.
I'm going to go get in the AC in my truck.
And and we're gonna end this when the commercial ends. This stream ends, and then look for the next one to start. Our next speaker is going to be Walt Smith. If you don't know who he is, you're about to find out. So let's do our commercial. And thank you so much for being on the stream with us today,
Thank
driving
you
out
for
here. I
having
know
me
it was
out
a
here.
drive, but you love driving.
I'm actually helping a friend move to Iowa right after this.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm packing.
Last time you were friends with him, right?
No,
they always said if you help
I
someone
actually
move-
moved him to Texas from Orlando
Oh,
too.
wow.
Yeah,
I know you're
like,
taking him.
I try to be a good friend, Mark. You know,
Yeah,
it's like I was told, and I've always believed this: is you just do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yeah, of course.
And it's the golden rule, and it works in all things.
That's how I live my life.
Yeah,
I think that's why people sort of like me, because
Yeah,
I really try hard to make everyone
Yeah.
happy as
No,
much as I
people
can.
do like you. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
guys, seriously, I want you to watch this commercial. I was blown away when I saw it. It's from one of our sponsors. I haven't even mentioned sponsors once, and we are 3 hours in. I'm terrible. So this sponsor is Benereef, or Benepets, and they make Benereef, which you guys know I use and love and sell on midliftsreef.com. So I want you to watch this. I'm like, wow. When I saw it, I was like, Nike
Benepets
is going to beg to have a commercial this
They're
good.
one of the best products when it comes to like dry phytoplankton or type foods for your reef.
And it doesn't
completely
mess
believe
up
in
your
that
system.
product.
All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
so let's
So
run
much
it.
better than the others.
And thank you again for being on.
You're very welcome.
And here we go. I hope I do this right. I think 1 second. Play. And
Refuel.
Murphy, is the sound on? God, is the sound on? I don't even know.